Volvo's CEO recently predicted that electric cars would hit price parity with internal combustion engine vehicles within the space of around 2 to 3 years. Now, Volvo has come out firing. It's saying there's no need for them to discount their electric cars. They don't need to. There's plenty of demand for their EVs. They won't engage in a price war with Tesla. Well, the facts seem to suggest that's not entirely true. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. It's great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to all the new subscribers, and welcome back everyone else. My name's Sam Evans, and I'm coming to you from Jomtien in Thailand. 2024 XC40 and C40 Recharge EV pricing. Basically, this is the new version of the XC40 and the C40 Recharge, both EVs from Volvo. They have more range, they're faster in terms of charging, and even speed as well. Plus, they're rear-wheel drive. Volvo, Hyundai, Volkswagen, they're all saying rear-wheel drive is better in an EV than front-wheel drive for various reasons. I talked about those reasons in detail in a video. I'll put a link in the description to that video. Probably need to watch that if you're looking at considering getting an EV, because there's quite a few EVs coming to the market in Australia and in other countries as well that will be front-wheel drive, and there's some that are rear-wheel drive. So it's worth actually looking at those and seeing why. Well, for example, why has the MG4 gotten such rave reviews? One of the key reasons is its handling dynamics, which they say, by being rear-wheel drive, are actually really, really good and work really well for an electric car. But getting back to the Volvo XC40 and C40, Volvo is saying the same thing. Rear-wheel drive is better. Now, of course, they're not saying it's better than all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive would be great if you live in winter, if you live somewhere where it's wet all the time, if you go to the snow, etc. This is the Australian pricing for these cars, but you can get a good idea here that if the price is being reduced here, it'll be reduced where you are as well. Volvo has improved the driving range and charging time for its updated EVs, and I talked about that recently. However, the entry-level single motor variants have shifted from front to rear-wheel drive. This is really an industry-wide change. Chinese automakers, a lot of them still doing front-wheel drive, but many of the big companies in the world now switching from front to rear-wheel drive. It's the first time Volvo has offered a rear-wheel drive vehicle in 25 years, following the discontinuation of the 900 series, later known as the S90 and the V90. Now, of course, Tesla only makes cars in rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive as well. Importantly, if you're considering one of these cars, both models benefit from improved driving range and charging times. Plus, they're cheaper. Unfortunately, though, those price decreases don't apply in Australia. In fact, they don't apply in any markets outside of China. So Volvo has decreased the price of its EVs in China, but not in Australia. In fact, the prices have gone up in Australia, which makes the value proposition of these cars a bit of a tougher sell. Here's why. The single motor version rear-wheel drive is now 77,000 Australian dollars. That's over 50,000 US dollars. The twin motor version of the XC40 is now $86,000. It was 79,500. Both cars have gone up in price by about 5,000. Both the rear motor and the all-wheel drive. They're both fairly pricey. I mean, obviously the Tesla Model Y is significantly cheaper. It's also a much bigger car, especially on the inside. Is the XC40 a car you should consider? For me, no, it's not. If it suits your needs though, if you like it, I mean, it is a fairly luxurious car. It's really nice looking. If those are your key categories, your key criteria, then it's definitely worth having a look at. The single motor version of the C40, it's had a price increase as well. Like I said, rear-wheel drive, price has gone up from 75,000 Australian dollars to 79,000 Australian dollars, or around about 55,000 US dollars. The all-wheel drive model, 82,500, was the previous price. It's now risen to $88,000. That's a lot of money. It is. I mean, we're looking at 60,000 US dollars here for a car which really, to manufacture, the price would have come down. Why do I say that? Well, battery packs have come down. Everyone is saying it. China, the entire industry is saying it. Where do Volvo source the batteries from? Of course, from China. The battery packs, the cells themselves, have come down in price, according to industry reports. So have the minerals made to make them. For example, lithium prices are down 65% this year, maybe 67% actually. Meaning Volvo is simply saying, well, maybe we're making a loss before. We don't want to make a loss anymore. We've got enough demand. If you want to buy one, well, so be it. But we're not really looking to ramp production. That's my take from this. If Volvo wanted to sell more of these, they couldn't sell them at this price. The price is a bit too high to get that mass market buy-in. The average person doesn't want to spend, 77,000 Australian dollars on the cheapest EV they sell. Now, a direct competitor, a fair competitor for the XC40 is the Tesla Model 3. And of course, that does qualify for a lot of the EV incentives here in Australia because it's priced below 68,000 Australian dollars, meaning that will be quite a bit cheaper than one of these. You're looking at probably around about a $15,000 price difference in a Model 3 versus a single motor XC40. Now, there's been some changes though that are worth considering. The new version is definitely better than the old version. The entry-level models switched to rear-wheel drive, like I said. So rather than being front-driven to improve efficiency and extend range, they've put them in the rear. Now, you wouldn't normally think that, right? Putting the motor in the rear of the car would improve efficiency and extend range, but it does. It also gets a power increase to 175 kilowatts, so it's up 5 kilowatt, meaning the power is around 230 horsepower. Unfortunately, though, the entry-level models maintain the same slower charging speed, which is 135 kilowatt charging speed. Now, not offered in Australia, but available in some other markets, there's an 82 kilowatt hour battery pack version. That has a more powerful 185 kilowatt motor, which is around 250 horsepower, and a claimed 515 kilometers of range for the XC40, or 533 kilometers for the C40. Now, considering the size of that pack, it's quite a big battery pack, 82 kilowatt hours. The reason the range is only 515 kilometers is because both of these cars are relatively heavy. Now, one really good piece of news here is that the dual motor models have gained 62 kilometers in range. So range has increased by around 40 miles. Australia-bound dual motor models gain the larger 82 kilowatt hour gross battery described. The larger 82 kilowatt hour battery that I just mentioned, with an extended WLTP claimed driving range of 500 kilometers on the XC40 EV and 507 kilometers for the sleeker C40. The updated dual motor XC40 and C40 Recharge come with changes to all-wheel drive torque split between front and rear axles. Now, 117 at the front, 117 kilowatts, so around about 140 horsepower at the front, and 183 kilowatt at the rear, so around about 270 horsepower at the rear. Combined power outputs are the same though, strangely, at 300 kilowatt and 660 newton meters. So that's around 450 horsepower, 660 newton meters of torque. It's a fair bit of power. Acceleration times. The rear-wheel drive motor versions, 7.4 seconds, 0 to 100 or 0 to 62 miles an hour. And the dual motor version is 0 to 62 miles, 0 to 100 in 4.9 seconds. So a lot faster, 2.5 seconds for the all-wheel drive version. Is that worth paying more? No. If you don't need the all-wheel drive version, I wouldn't get it. I'd go with the single rear drive motor version. Personally, let me know your thoughts on that. Now, fortunately, the charging speed is quite a bit better with the all-wheel drive version. XC40 and C40 EVs in all-wheel drive get 200 kilowatt DC fast charging, up from 150 kilowatt. That means its fast charging time from 10 to 80%, if you want to charge the battery pack from 10 to 80% on a compatible fast charger, is now 28 minutes. That's an improvement of 9 minutes. That's a pretty good improvement. Still could be better. I mean, some EVs have up to 350 kilowatt charging, but still 200 kilowatt, it's pretty good. There's also a new aerodynamic focused 19-inch wheel design available for the single motor XC40 and the C40 variants. But interestingly, smaller wheels will give you even more range than this. So I would be asking my Volvo dealership, saying, can you put 18-inch wheels on this? I mean, the wheels do nothing. For me, aesthetics mean very little. I just put hubcaps over those couple of those wheels, smaller wheels. You'd get more range out of it. To me, the range is the most important factor. Not to everyone, though. A lot of people live in cities and that doesn't really matter for them. It does look different as well. The XC40 Recharge gained a mild facelift in 2022 to make it look a bit more similar to the C40 Recharge. It's got a tweaked front design, new interior dashboard trim, and the introduction of a single motor version in Australia with a smaller 69 kilowatt hour battery. Volvo is saying they're going to be EV only in most countries in 2026. Their CEO is just committed to EVs. Polestar, exactly the same thing. I really like where they're heading and what they're doing. Now, truth be told though, all the people saying we hate Tesla, we love Volvo, Polestar, so we're buying a Volvo and a Polestar instead of a Tesla. I've seen that a lot on forums, car forums. I'm not going to say for which countries, but I've seen it a lot. Guys, Volvo and Polestar, technically you can say that they are a Swedish company, but that's not really the truth. The parent company is China. The parent company is Geely. Geely right now are building factories all over the world with Renault and Saudi Aramco. They want to be the kings of internal combustion engine manufacturing. That's what they plan on doing. They plan on supplying engines to every manufacturer that will buy them and to promoting them to saying they're an alternative, get these instead of an EV. They're planning on dominating that market. And when I say this, I'm not saying this lightly. I mean, if you're going to critique one company, I totally understand where you're coming from. But you've got to apply, to be fair, the same lens to all companies. Volvo and Polestar, they do not have clean hands here. This is still part of the Chinese establishment. They're still part of Geely, and Geely, they have massive internal combustion engine plans. Publicly, Volvo CEO and Polestar CEO very much support electrification. Privately, Geely as a company, they're all in on gas-powered vehicles. It's very hard to understand. Those are the facts, my friends. So if you're deciding getting on one of these simply on principle over a Tesla, I don't think they really make sense. Just get the best car. Whatever the best car is, get that for you. Whatever your needs are, that's my recommendation. Thank you for watching.